All right, welcome everybody to day 2 of the set review. We're covering Rares and Mythics today, Avatar, Rares, and Mythics. And as we've been doing in the last few set reviews, we get to share some thoughts on early access, because both myself and Mark have played a few drafts already. So we've got some thoughts, some updated takes from last time. And yeah, I'll say hello, Mark, and why don't we just dive into that? How was your early access yesterday?
My early access was less than usual, so I only got in 3 drafts yesterday and then none today. Like I was actually on the road all day for work, which both meant that I couldn't do any more drafts. It also meant I couldn't update the tier list, and also means that my voice is running a little bit thin from presenting all day. But yesterday was quite successful, so I stop after 5 wins when I do my drafts, and I went a sweet 15-0 in games.
Just casual brag,
Uh,
yeah, awesome.
well, partly it was, like opponents are learning the cards and
Yeah,
they're messing around and they're maybe not optimized. But it's also, if anything, I think a good indicator that a lot of our thoughts from Tuesday are holding up and that we got a lot of things right, because I felt like I was, flying out of the gates with much more streamlined, optimized versions of things than my opponents. I did draft first a blue black control deck that was like, clue based and draw two. Then I drafted a almost mono green splashing red earthbending deck, and then I drafted a green white allies deck.
nice.
And yeah, the one thing I will say is we talked a bit about the monocolored payoffs yesterday, and those really did feel strong. I
Oh,
mean, you
yeah.
can definitely add to that as well. I don't know if you want to talk about the draft or drafts that you did, because they were also equally as impressive.
Yeah, so I also didn't get too many in. I did one on stream and then a few afterwards on my phone. And yeah, so the one that I'll probably post to YouTube after, so spoilers for anybody who wants to dodge that, but it was a mono white deck. I actually started with blue white Aang, rare Aang, and we'll get to that card today. Really strong card, but I moved off of it into a mono white deck because I picked up 4 copies of, ooh, what's it called? The White Lotus 5-drop mono.
Gather the White Lotus, I
Gather
think
the
it
White
is.
Lotus. Yeah, that's it, which is for every free planes you control, you make a 1/1 and you scry 2. And all my games were not close. That card was really, really good. I just felt like I couldn't lose when I resolved that card. So yeah, I'll just add on to the fact that, yeah, and also for my opponents, I saw some of the monocolored payoffs. They seemed very strong to me.
Yeah, even in my blue black deck, I just had 9 swamps, but I played 2 cat gators and they were great. And in the linear mono green deck, I had 2 copies of Rockalanche, and that was absolutely insane with 13 forests in my deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think like if you can draft those decks and turn them into A level cards, you're doing something really powerful that other decks can't match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to give a quick note on sealed, because I know some people are looking for some sealed tips. So when you go to your pre-release, you pick your sealed pack, right? It's like you get this pre-seeded pack, and it's actually, they're doing it in an interesting way this time, where you pick a character, and you get, like, it's not a color, it's a character. I'm not sure exactly if there's I don't think it's like a color associated to the character directly 1-to-1. Like if you pick a character, let's say Aang, you won't just get one color of cards. It's multiple colors of cards. So can't give too much direction in that department if you're doing a paper one. But if you're doing it on Arena, because they're doing it a little bit different, you do actually choose a color on Arena. It's not choosing a character. And what I would suggest, either choosing white, blue, or green. Just, I think that's where the density of the good cards in the set lie right now. It's my current take. And also, those monocolored payoffs we were just talking about, those are very viable if you're getting a seeded pack of a certain color, because those seeded packs do have all one color. So just something to keep in mind there.
I like the look of a lot of the red decks too. I just don't think like the red monocolor payoff's never going to be an A level card. So
Right. Chat, actually, sorry, correction here. Chat is saying that the paper is actually a monocolored seeded pack, but the uncommon character isn't necessarily monocolored. So maybe everything I just said about the arena stuff can actually apply to paper too. Cool. Yeah, so we're just gonna jump in here. One last thing. I like last time, like always, we pre-graded these cards. Mark and I have different tier lists, so we'll shout those out. And if you want to see the full list, those are going to be in the description of the podcast feed and of the YouTube video. Mark, anything else, or should we just jump in?
let's dive in. Let's get going. I'm excited.
Okay, so first card on our list here is Momo Friendly Flyer. So Momo is a single white mana 1/1 legendary creature, ally rare. Has flying, and it says the first non-lemur creature spell with flying you cast costs 1 less, and Momo is a lemur. And whenever another creature you control is flying enters, Momo gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So we talked last time about how the flying archetype might not be one of the more supported ones in this set. Momo's a good card. I think if you end up in that archetype, it's going to be very powerful. I don't know if I'd necessarily take this and try to move in for it, though.
No, it's not really like rare level power
Yeah.
outlier type of thing. I do think you want some flyers to even play it in the first place. Like a 1/1 flyer with no text isn't really doing it these days.
Mm-hmm.
But we both gave Momo a C. It's a fine
Yeah.
card.
I did actually play with this Minister. This was in my mono white deck. And it is nice. There is a common 3-mana flyer, Glider Kids. That's the 3-mana 2/3 that's has an ally and scries 1 when it enters. So that's a nice little curve. But yeah, not going to be like a bomb first pick or anything. Next up, we've got South Pole Voyager. This is 1 and a white for a 2/2 ally rare. Whenever this creature or another ally you control enters, you gain 1 life. And if this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. Yeah, that's a real nice one.
Yeah. So Allies seems super supported.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be hard to draw cards off this. This card's extremely threatening, and I think you can be like almost any. It's not like you need to be green white for this because I actually drafted red green. Like the red green deck I had actually had an ally sub theme in it, so it's kind of cool to see some bleed across some synergies there that are kind of supported across multiple colors. So this card should be very strong. I gave South Pole Voyager a B, and you're at a B plus.
Yeah, I think the incidental life gain that's really nice. If it was just that, I think you'd be pretty happy with the card. But drawing a card is great, and notably, there are a bunch of cards that make multiple allies, so you don't have to actually like double spell necessarily. Next up, we've got Airbender Ascension. So this is the first one in a cycle. This is 1 and a white for an enchantment at rare. When it enters, airbend up to 1 target creature, and whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. And then it says at the beginning of your end step, if this enchantment has 4 or more quest counters, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. So airbend when it comes in, and when you do the thing, you get to blink something on every end step.
Not the strongest of the cycle. This card seems kind like you spend 2 mana, and if you hit something of theirs, they spend 2 mana, but you've used like a card to do that, and then if you hit their thing, you're not like generating the first counter on this because you're not spotting yourself the like. I think this card would be pretty good if it had flash, but they decided not to do that, so we both gave it a D.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be some decks you look at and you go, oh, it's actually pretty good for it. This is a card that I could see making its way into my deck once in a while, but I think that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. Next up is Suki, Courageous Rescuer. This is 1 white for a legendary ally at rare. It's a 2/4 and says other creatures you control get +1/+0. And then also, whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, you make a 1/1 ally creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Yeah, so we were very impressed with the ally stuff, very impressed with the white go wide stuff yesterday. And this card's great for that deck, right? It's an anthem, it makes 1/1s. Like, what more do you want? It's an ally.
You also have, I mean, there's a sacrifice sub theme, but there's also like there's all the dual lands self-sacrifice. So even if you like attack and they don't block because they don't want to give you what's functionally like a 2/1, you can potentially just sack one of your lands and make like a free 2/1 out of the exchange. So this card seems insane. You're slightly higher than me, and I probably like your grade more. I'm at an A minus, and you gave Suki an A.
Next up, we've got Aang's Iceberg. This is 2 and a white for an enchantment at rare. Has flash, and says when this enchantment enters, exile up to 1 other target non-land permanent until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. Also has the ability Waterbend 3. Sacrifice this enchantment. If you do, scry 2. Okay, so not super different than the common variants of this card we see. But it's got flash. That is a reasonably large upside. And the idea here, not that you're going to want to sacrifice it very often, but if they do go to blow it up, you go, okay, I get a little bit of value. I'm not left high and dry. Or if you exile a token, that's another thing where it's like, okay, they're not getting that token back. Maybe I'll just sacrifice this at some point.
You have missed something on this, I think.
Oh, I might have. Okay, please tell me.
Well, everything you said is true.
Yeah.
It's like an Oblivion Ring with Flash, which is already a good card. Hitting tokens is good. You know, the Water Bend is just upside if they're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that this can be dumped at any time means you can actually use this on your stuff.
Oh, so like just like as a blink, a weird blink. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like if you have
Yeah.
a bomb and they
Oh
target
sure.
it, you
Oh
can
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
potentially just hit your bomb, and then you can just water bend it away and like blink your creature.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's kind of a clunky protection spell in that way, but it's good modality. So yeah, solid card. What do we give it?
We both gave it a B. I think I might move this up though. I actually had this in one of my decks and it was like excellent. So super efficient, lots of modes. I like this card.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Hakuda, Selfless Commander. This is 3 and a white for a 3/5 legendary creature ally at rare. It's got Vigilance and says that you can look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast ally spells from the top of your library and sacrifice this creature. Creatures you control get plus O plus 5 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Okay, so one thing, just experience from early access, I had that mono white deck I had. I didn't even try to do this, but literally every card in my deck was an ally, right? So I think it's not that difficult for that to be the case. And if you're there, then you know what, like 40% of your deck is castable off the top, and you can keep chaining. This is not a once per turn thing, so there's some good stuff going on with this card.
And it does kind of have the 4 mana, no ETB, no protection. But if you're casting this with more mana open, like
Yeah.
you could just play this and immediately play an ally off the top. And then it also has that like buyout of having the extra ability where it's got some additional modality. So it's another card that I think I'll probably be bumping up. Like again, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
actually adjusted any of my grades yet because I haven't had time today. But we're currently both on a B for Hakoda, and I think it could be higher.
Yeah, and also it's not even quite like no enter the battlefield, like no immediate effect. Because if your opponent does have a removal spell for this, you sacrifice it, and that means they probably can't attack into you that turn, right? Because all your things are indestructible if you have untapped creatures. So there is a little bit of value there.
Yep.
Next up, oh, this is a funny one. This is gonna be fun to talk about. Avatar's Wrath. So this is 2 white for a sorcery at rare. Choose up to 1 target creature, then airbend all other creatures. Until your next turn, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Exile Avatar's Wrath. So when this card was first spoiled, it was posted to my Discord, and there was a long conversation of, is this card amazing or is it just garbage? And we were chatting about it a little bit, and we kind of went back and forth in that conversation. Like, maybe it's good, maybe it's not so good. After a little bit of time, what's your take on this card?
I think we agreed in the end. Like we were kind of walking through all the use cases for it
Yeah,
because it reads like it's insane, right? It looks like it's like a one-sided effect. It gets rid of all their blockers.
yeah,
It's really easy to foresee oh, we both got a wide board of things, and then your board disappears, and I get to attack with my one thing, and then I replay everything, and you can't. But when we started talking about it more, if you're on the back foot, this is way worse than a Wrath because they
hmm
get to replay everything.
delayed,
And if you're
but
on,
yes, still they get the cards. Yeah,
yeah, you're down a card when you cast this.
yes,
Whereas normally with Wraths, if they're played 3 creatures and you Wrath, you're up 2 cards,
hmm
right? And then if you're on the offensive, it's really not better than just like a falter type of effect, which
right,
normally you wouldn't pay 4 mana for.
right,
So I think we both think it's kind of bad.
yes.
The boards were getting a little bit gummed up in the white deck, so maybe it'll be a slightly better than what we give it, but we both gave Avatar's Wrath a D plus.
Yeah, this is one I think we could easily be wrong about. I'll tell you, it would be very good against my 4 Gather the White Lotus deck because getting rid of token still works.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where we'll settle for this card. Next up is a card that is again bunch of tokens. United Front is X white for a sorcery at Mythic. Create X 1/1 ally creature tokens and then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So, if you're doing this for 3 mana, not very good, but anything past that just starts to get really, really nice. This one seems like one of the better rares in the set.
Well, you can do it for 0
Oh,
potentially.
sure. Yeah. If you really want to, if you're tight on mana, maybe you sneak out a lethal turn with it.
Yeah, like it can be 2 mana. It's basically 2 mana, add a counter to all your team, and then for each additional mana, you make a 2/2, right?
Yeah, and then there's things that trigger when you have allies enter sometimes. So like that's a lot of triggers. So yeah, very strong card. What do we give this one?
Yeah, card's great. We both gave it an A.
Yep. Next up, I was saying Appa, not getting his moment with kind of a not so great uncommon, but the mythic here, Appa, Steadfast Guardian, is 2 white for a legendary creature at mythic. 3/4, flash flying. When it enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. So let's just start with 4 mana, 3/4, flash flyer. That's pretty darn good, right? You get to ambush something, you get to sneak it in into turn, they're not expecting it. Then it's all upside from there, right? So it's interesting, like, you're going to have some game states where you don't want to exile anything at all. You're just like, I just want my flyer. You're going to have some game states where you exile your whole board. You're like, okay, this game's going pretty long. I think I want to get value. I want to make a bunch of tokens. Very modular card.
And not to mention with Flash, it can protect stuff of yours too. That's going to be either wrathed or subject to removal.
Yep.
I will warn, it is possible to over airbend your stuff, right? Like if you're just like, oh, I'm just going to get rid of everything, and then
Yeah.
you have a removal spell for Appa, you haven't really, like, you've actually set yourself back.
That's a good point.
So you might want to be careful about being a little too greedy with this, but this still should be fantastic. Another one that you graded slightly higher than me, and you might be right. You gave Appa an A. I am on an A-.
Next up, we've got, I've been going on about how awkward the wording on this card is. So this is the Legend of Yang Chen. This is 3 white for a Mythic Saga. This is another cycle. And it says, starting with you, each player chooses up to 1 permanent with mana value 3 or greater from among permanents your opponents control and exile those. That's the first chapter. So before I even go through the rest of the card, I want to stop for a second and talk about this chapter. It is worded for multiplayer in a way that makes it hard to parse. So you don't actually, your opponent doesn't get to exile any of your stuff, right? Because it says choose from permanents your opponent's control, and that's referring to you, the caster. So in a 1v1, this is just you exile something of theirs, mana value 3 or greater. They could exile one of their own things if that's something they want to do, but most of the time they're not going to do that. So this is just kill a thing when it enters for the most part. Okay, chapter 2, you may have target opponent draw 3 cards. If you do, draw 3 cards. And then chapter 3, exile the saga, return to the battlefield transformed under your control. How do I do this? Okay, hold on. Is there no flip button on here? Spacebar. There we go, spacebar. Backside is Avatar Yang Chen, which is a 4/5, has flying, and says whenever you cast your second spell each turn, airbend up to 1 other target non-land permanent. So all these mythics are good sagas that flip into good creatures. Let's start on the front side here. What do you think of the front side?
Well, without the creature, like, I don't know if you mean front side by just without the creature.
Yeah,
without the creature,
the
card would be like medium.
Medium, right? It's like kill a thing for 5 mana. Maybe you draw, maybe you don't. And actually, that's when we like this is a symmetrical effect. That second one, like the idea here is you want to draw when generally you have fewer cards in hand, because going up 3 cards when you have 0 to your opponent who might have a bunch of cards in hand, going up 3 cards, like you're netting more benefit. And often as the aggressive deck, you're going to dump your hand quicker. But don't be afraid to do that if you don't have anything going on.
But once you add the creature, like you turn this from a removal spell into, a Chupacabra, Flame Tongue Cava, whatever you may have it.
Yeah.
This card goes from medium to incredible. Like you add a 4/5 flyer with upside, any card's going to get a heck of a lot better.
Yes, absolutely, totally. So yeah, this is a really good card. White's got a lot of good rares. What do we give this one?
I gave this an A. You gave it an A+. Also notably, the fact that this one is the white one is probably worth mentioning because these are all pretty nice targets to airbend. So if you're going to be airbending your saga and resetting this or saving it, give your opponent some real big headaches.
Yeah, that's what bumped it up for me from the A to A+. Also, a little design note that I didn't catch wind of until today. Apparently, when they were designing the set, airbending is the mechanic they had the least of. Because, the Last Airbender, there's not that much airbending going on. They felt like if it was all over the place, it would be a little bit strange. That's kind of cute. All right. Blue cards now. We're starting with a not so great one, I think. This is Tiger Seal. Single blue mana for a 3/3 Vigilance at rare. At the beginning of your upkeep, tap this creature. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, untap this creature.
So if you're mono blue with the scroll, the blue payoff,
Yeah.
maybe I could see it. So we didn't give this an F, but that is a massive downside. And like you're not going to be doing stuff until quite a bit later into the game, by which point the 3/3 being overstated probably doesn't matter. So I think this card's overall quite bad. We both gave it a D minus.
I guess one interesting note about it is that if you have waterbending abilities, you can waterbend in response to the trigger, right? So you make a mana for that, but you don't get to your draw step first, and so you often don't want to do that.
Yeah, and you're like tapping out
Yeah.
like on your upkeep, which is kind of terrible too.
Yeah, absolutely. Waterbender Ascension, the blue one in the cycle, 1 and a blue for an enchantment at rare. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then if it has 4 more quest counters on it, draw a card. And it has Waterbend 4. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay, so this one is, I think, about the same power level. I'm about as interested in this one as the last one, the white one. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Well, so notably, it doesn't have capping on it. So if you have this dream scenario where you cast this and immediately hit them with 6 creatures,
Mm-hmm.
you are drawing 3 cards, right? Like you'll add 6 counters to it. The first 3 won't do anything. The last 3 will all draw you a card. But me talking about hitting someone with 6 creatures
Yeah,
is not a
right.
very realistic scenario. So again, you don't really want to play this on turn 2 because then you're not impacting the board and you're not able to get creatures through. And casting this on turn, 8, by the time you hit them 4 more times, they're probably going to be dead.
Yeah.
I'm not super interested in this. We both also gave this a D minus.
Yeah, totally. All right, we've got Spirit Water Revival up next. 1 blue for a sorcery at rare. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may waterbend 6. And it says, draw 2 cards. If this spell's additional cost was paid, instead shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw 7 cards, and you have no max hand size for the rest of the game. And then you exile Spirit Water Revival. So 3 mana, tough to cast Divination, 3 mana, draw 2. But turning into a draw 7, like a one-sided draw 7, that is reasonable upside.
So how often? Okay, I'll ask you. I ask you this sometime. How often do you think you're gonna waterbend this when you cast it? What, like percentage wise?
I would assume, probably like 15 to 20%, maybe between 20 and 10%, I would say. Because I think most of the time, turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe at 6, maybe you consider holding it. But around there, you're just going to cast it for your 3 mana. You don't want to have this card held in your hand and just stuck in your hand forever.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you like this card?
I kind of do. Like, I think this is I think it's a fairly low opportunity cost card to put in your deck. Like, yes, you have to be double blue, and Divination isn't the most exciting card. But there will be some games where you draw it in the mid game and you go, oh, okay, this is a plan now. Like, I can work towards this. This game isn't going anywhere too quick. I think I can get to my pseudo 9 mana to be able to do this.
Like, obviously, I only drafted blue once,
Mm-hmm.
but in the blue deck I drafted, I was literally cutting like waterbending lessons because you have clues, you have draw spells, you
Right.
have the scroll. So it doesn't feel like more draw is what blue is missing.
That's fair. Yeah, that's very fair.
And like, yeah, as you said, the 3 mana hard to cast divination, like even if it was an easy to cast divination, those haven't been particularly good.
Right.
So part of the reason I asked you, I mean, I'm looking at the grades. You're 2 grades higher than me on this. I gave Spirit Water Revival a D plus. You gave it a C. It did feel pretty easy to waterbend things, but I also worry that your scenario where you're doing this on turn 6 or whatever involves like completely tapping your board out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You could also just die when that happens. So,
No,
so I'm a little concerned.
I think you're more right about this than I am. Yeah, I think I should bump the grade down and say it's probably, low C, high D level. Next up, we've got the Mechanist, Aerial Artistan. 1 and a blue for a 1/3 legendary ally at rare. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you make a clue token. It also has the ability tap. Until end of turn, target artifact token you control becomes a 3/1 construct artifact creature with flying. All right, blue's got a good one here. This card's real nice.
Yeah, especially with Octopus Form being a common.
Ooh, yeah. Nice little protection spell. Cheap protection spell for your awesome cheap card.
And well, and also just like casting it triggers the clue
Oh,
token
yeah,
too,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like
Sure.
absolutely perfect. Yeah, I really like this card. I think it's a kind of a nice, cute little build around, and there'll be some tension whether you cast it turn 3 or hold it, whether it's like Octopus Form or the Quench or whatever that you want to
Mm-hmm.
kind of do to leave it up a little bit later. But this card seems sweet. I give it a B. You gave it a B plus.
Next, we've got Ty Lee Chi Blocker. This is 2 and a blue for a legendary ally at rare. 2/1 Flash Prowess. And when Ty Lee enters, tap up to 1 target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Ty Lee. Yeah, this card's nice.
Yeah, card's really good. I had this cast against me on one of my Earthbended lands, and
Wow.
I was very thankful when they then decided the next turn to like prowess it, put it into combat, and trade up with my 3/3. I was like, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because if they had just left it in play, it would have been so annoying.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, just a great card all
No,
around, right? Like, good on offense, good on defense.
yeah, Tylee's great. We both gave her a minus.
Next, we've got UA, the Moon Spirit. This is 3 and a blue for a 3/3 legendary ally. It's rare. Flying Vigilance has the ability Waterbend 5. You can cast a non-creature spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. So this one kind of reads to me like more of a commander plant than anything else. Like, okay, 3 mana or 4 mana 3/3 Flying Vigilance. Not a great body. We're not a huge fan of that. The waterbending ability, you're not really getting that much of a discount unless you're casting something very expensive. I guess you can turn sorceries into instants. That's something.
I feel like this card is fine, but is gonna heavily suffer from the rare tax.
Yeah, totally. People taking this like a pick or two earlier than they should, basically.
Yeah, like I don't think like it looks good enough to me that I don't think I would cut this from blue decks, but
Yeah,
I would more be looking to take it like on the wheel type of area, and I don't expect it to actually go that late on arena. So we both gave UA a C minus.
yeah. And when you get this, when you have Lightning Strike and you cast it on this card, you look at your opponent and you go, "That's rough, buddy." Right? All
Yeah.
right. Next up, we've got the Unagi of Kyoshi Island. This is 3 blue for a 5/5 legendary rare. Has Flash, has Ward, Water Bend 4. That's interesting. And it says whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. Okay, so 5 mana 5/5 Flash, that definitely threatens to eat something in combat. And often they're going to be tapping their creatures. You know, it's in combat, so they likely won't be able to pay the waterbend cost on that turn, which is always kind of the decision point where it's like, okay, I'm flashing my thing in. Do they have the removal spell? If not, I'm going to get a 2-for-1 here. If they do, okay, fine, we play on.
It's also kind of nice that like this card is going to be good almost no matter what, but the decks that you're more likely to flash in and eat a creature are like the creature based colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they're playing blue, which is like less about attacking you, you also have an ability that punishes them for drawing cards.
Totally. Yeah.
So you kind of get like something that you care about no matter what the matchup is.
Yeah, that's great. Great point.
Uh, yeah, card seems sweet. I really like the Ward Waterbend 4 is just tickles my fancy. You know, just like it's a cool way to
It's
make
cool.
Ward an important card on this.
For sure.
I gave it an A minus. You gave it an A.
Next up, we've got Wan Shi Tong Librarian. You're very happy if you open this one because it's a lot of money. So this is X blue for a 1/1 legendary creature at Mythic. Flash, Flying Vigilance. When it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on him, and then draw half X cards rounded down. And whenever an opponent searches their library, you put a +1/+1 counter on Wan Shi Tong and draw a card. Okay. So you pay. I don't know. What do you think generally you're aiming for the X here? If you're not forced to cast it earlier than you'd like.
X will, I mean, it's probably going to be 2 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
about right. And there aren't too many ways to search your library in the set. They exist. Green's got ramp. But it's not like you're gonna trigger that all the time. But that doesn't matter too much, right? Like just cantripping flash flyer. I think you're just gonna be happy with that, with upside, of course.
Yeah, cards really. I'm sad to hear that it's expensive. I didn't look any of that up, and I wanted to put this in my cube,
Oh
but
yeah.
I can understand why it is. It's got a nice text box, and it does some cool things, and it's going to be fantastic and limited. We both gave Wan Shi Tong an A.
Ooh. Sam points out in chat, very good with firebending too, right? Just being a flash creature. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. All right, next up we've got the Secret of Bloodbending, which is a blue, 4 blue mana sorcery lesson at Mythic. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may waterbend 10. Okay. You control a target opponent during their next combat phase. If the spell's additional cost is paid, you control that player during their next turn instead, and then you exile this card. Okay, so powerful effects, but man, is that extremely prohibitive to cast.
Yeah, and even if you do cast it, if they have anything that can waterbend, they can just tap all of their creatures pre-combat.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true. That's so true.
Yeah, card's bad. We both gave it an F.
Yep. Next up is the Legend of Kuruk. So this is 2 blue for a saga and mythic. First 2 chapters say scry 2 and then draw a card. Third chapter, you flip it into Avatar Kuruk, and this is 4/3 legendary creature. Whenever you cast a spell, you make a 1/1 colorless spirit token. With this, this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirits. And exhaust. So only do this once. Waterbend 20. Take an extra turn after this one. Okay.
Yeah, I had this card in my blue-black deck. It
Nice.
was as insane as it looks.
Yeah.
I didn't get to Waterbend 20, but I did get like, I was up to like 13, 14 permanents at one point before I just won at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like I do think it'll happen occasionally in this set where that ability actually comes up.
Yeah.
Another case where you gave it an A and I gave it an A minus.
Yeah, really nice. Next up is black cards. So Obsessive Pursuit, the first black card. 1 in a black for an enchantment at rare. When this enchantment enters, and at the beginning of your upkeep, lose 1 life and make a clue token. And whenever you attack, put X +1/+1 counters on target attacking creature, where X is the number of permanents you sacrifice this turn. If X is 3 or greater, that creature gains lifelink until end of turn. I was pretty unsure about this card, on first read, and then I read it a few more times, and the more I read it, the more I'm kind of into it. I think this card's pretty good.
Yeah, you bumped this up, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, because this is one I think we had a 2 grade difference on, and now we have the same grade. So that's, I guess you bumped it up by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm not sure about this, like very low confidence, because losing a life every turn and on ETB and not even getting the card draw is
Mm-hmm.
like really bad for Phyrexian Arena. Like
Right.
you have to pay 2 every turn to get your Phyrexian Arena, but you can get the life back is nice. And then also, like, if you just use it once a turn, you are growing your creatures in combat. And I, I mean, I'm basically just reading the card, but I think there's enough there that it comes together to be pretty good. We both gave it a C plus.
Yeah, and I think that you only really have to get the lifelink trigger once on a
Yeah.
reasonably large creature to be happy, like on even like a 4/4. That mostly makes up for the life loss you have, even if you lose a little bit of life, net life in the process.
Well, it
We
doesn't like
Yeah,
if you so hold up because
yeah, good.
you said on a 4/4, but if you sack your 3 clues or whatever or
Mm-hmm.
3 things, that thing that you talked about being a 4/4 is going to be like a 7/7 lifelink in combat.
Right. I was more thinking like you have the 1 mana 1/1 menace, and you put 3 counters, and it becomes a 4/4. That's kind of what I was saying. But you're right. Yes, that's a good distinction to make for sure.
Well, that's like
Yeah,
that's the smallest possible amount you can get,
that's
right? Like,
true. Yeah, that's actually I didn't think of it that way. I almost said 3/3 when I said it, and that would have been wrong. So yeah, good call. Good call.
Like there
Okay,
is a whatever, there is a 0-3 in the set, but I think you can reasonably expect to gain 5 or 6 life when you pop off on this.
I agree. Yeah. Next up is May Scornful Striker. This is 1 and a black for a 2/2 legendary creature ally at rare. She has first strike and says whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Okay, it's a black Thalia sort of.
Black is a color that plays a decent number of non-creature spells. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like, I mean, white Thalia is usually white's almost all creatures. Black's
Yeah.
kind of in the middle of the pack. So I don't really know if that ability is upside or downside, but the fact that you get to be the one with a 2/2 first striker in place means if you're doing this on turn 2, you're probably pushing enough damage that the life loss will probably be more annoying for your opponent than for you. So I think this card's pretty good.
Yeah, me too. What do we give it?
Yeah, I gave it a B minus, and you gave her a B.
Next, we've got Day of Black Sun. This is X black black for a sorcery at rare. Each creature with mana value X or less loses all abilities until end of turn, and then you destroy those creatures. So another card that really messed up my day one game with that mono white token deck I had. Although I did still win the game. Yeah, so I think I'm sort of interested in this field wipe. Like we mentioned before, I think in the other day's set review, you're really looking for wraths and limited that you can break the symmetry on somehow. So if you have like a black green deck, I think this might be a pretty solid card there. You know, kill all the small stuff, keep your big things. Yeah, what's your take on this one?
The issue with playing it in black green is you're more likely to have earthbended
Earthbending.
lands.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And for some reason, my understanding of this is like for 2 mana, you will kill earthbended lands, but I believe despite them losing abilities, I think they still return to the battlefield tapped.
That also sounds right to me. I wonder if anybody in chat can double check on that. But yeah, I think that sounds right to me. They return, says Sirkovitz. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so that's actually part of the reason why I like this card is because it punishes like opponents trying to do earthbending things.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like playing catch up on Wrath, where you can never hit the thing they played the last turn or even the last 2 turns,
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be very good. So I could see this being anywhere from like a B level card to a D level card. I kind of split the difference on a C minus, and you're a little bit more optimistic at a C plus.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Raven Eagle. I think this is a really good one. This is 2 and a black for a rare 2/3. It's got flying. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, exile up to one target card from a graveyard. If a creature card was exiled this way, you make a clue token. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Okay, yeah.
So there will be spots where on turn 3 you don't have a creature to exile.
Totally. And I think you probably, if you have like a comparable 3 drop, not that you're going to have a card, another A-level card, but like, like a card with power and toughness that you're fine putting on the board, you probably play that first most of the time, yeah?
Right, but then the later you play this, the less likely it is to be able to get an attack in,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
But you get, like, I think the thing, like, your bar you want to meet is you get a clue off of this, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. You want to cast it when you already have a creature in the grave, or somebody has a creature in the grave.
Right, but I just mean like the upside on getting a clue every turn is if you're going to be able to like attack repeatedly with
Sure,
this.
sure. If you have like a bunch of removal, yeah, I got you. So yeah, there's trade off there. It's not necessarily and or wait, it's not I one or the other.
There might be spot, especially if you're on the draw and your opponent plays a like ostrich horse or whatever and mills 3. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely spots where you'll get to have your cake and eat it too.
Yep.
But we have a lot of these gradings. It seems another one that I gave an A minus and you gave an A to.
Yeah, actually, through just talking about it, I agree with the A minus. I think there's enough slight awkwardness with the card that it's not going to be like A tier. Next is Foggy Swamp Visions. This is 1 black black for a sorcery at rare. As an additional cost to cast the spell, Waterbend X. Exile X target creature cards from graveyards. For each creature card exiled this way, create a token that's a copy of it. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice those tokens. This one's actually kind of interesting. Like it reads over the top, really cool, big effect. But then you go, okay, well, it's not getting you a card, you're not going to cast it for a while, but it could, like, I think the situation where you get like a lot of good stuff back, might come up. I don't know.
Yeah, notably, it doesn't give haste. Like a
Yes,
lot of these
yes.
effects are usually give haste.
Right.
So very important to notice that there's no haste on this. So you need to either be like sacrificing those things
Mm-hmm.
to some kind of effect or getting a whole bunch of ETBs. And all in all, it feels like a card that requires setup, is kind of expensive, like hard to cast,
Yeah.
and the upside is not really game winning.
Right.
So
I agree.
I think it's bad. I mean, we both graded it quite low. We both gave it a D minus, but one that you had to think about a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Gave me a little bit of pause. Next up is Boiling Rock Rider. This is 2 and a black for a ally at rare. It's a 3/3. It's got Firebending 1. And says tap an untapped ally you control. Exile a target card from a graveyard. So it could be this, by the way, and it's not a. You can do that when it's summoning sick. Whenever this creature attacks, you may cast an ally spell from among cards you own with this or exiled with this creature. So you graveyard hate for the opponent, but you only get to nab allies out of your graveyard. Notably, I think this card was actually bugged on Arena yesterday. It actually works in kind of a slightly unintuitive way, where a lot of these cards say like, you can cast that card until end of turn. This is a trigger where it says when you attack, you can exile one of those cards. You have to just cast it right there, right then.
I don't think it was bugged. I think it was. So I'm actually usually priding myself on reading, every word of a card's text and
Yeah.
understanding what it does. I, like apparently a lot of other people, didn't catch the you own part of this.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure like there was, we have the early access Discord. People were talking about it being bugged. I think they were trying to cast their opponent's allies that they
Oh,
were.
okay. Okay, so yeah, the two kind of unintuitive things. You can only cast things from your graveyard, and if this is a trigger, it's not until end of turn. You have to go, okay, I'm going to cast it in combat right here if you want to do it.
Yeah, so I am actually planning on moving this down a little bit just
Mm.
because it seemed like black actually has less allies than some other colors, but it seemed like there were so many other allies you'd normally be able to hit something. But you do need more of like a build around grade than I initially thought with this. So we both gave it a B. I'm planning on bumping that a little bit lower though.
Yeah, I agree, but for the opposite reason. Like, I got the other unintuitive thing wrong. I thought it was like an until end of turn thing, which doesn't change it all that much, but enough to bump it down a little bit.
Well, it does mean that you can use the firebending mana on it,
Totally.
right?
Yeah. So it's not pure downside or anything. The Fire Nation Drill is next. This is 2 black for a vehicle, legendary vehicle at rare. 6/3 trample, crew 2. When it enters, you may tap it. When you do, destroy target creature with power 4 or less. Also has the ability 1, permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Pretty powerful vehicle along the same lines as a lot of the other vehicles in the set. This one's looking like one I am very happy to put in my deck.
Yeah, this is like it was between this and one other card for best rare in the set for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is I like that the truly broken cards, they seem to have all moved to mythic.
Yes, that's
Like
true.
there
Yeah.
was a long stretch where we would have at least one rare. Often it was a green rare, Valgavas Onslaught, Fecund Green Shell, whatever.
Bonnie
That we were
Paul.
like,
Yeah.
when I wish this was mythic because you're gonna get really sick of this card. I will praise the developers that they seem to have pushed most of those cards to mythic, but this card is excellent. I mean, it looks like a big cheese grater, but it's fine. We both gave it a and another really nice target to Airbend too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really good point there. Next up,
Also
another.
weird.
Okay,
Sorry,
good.
one
No,
more thing about
yeah,
this.
absolutely. Go ahead.
It is also weird. We haven't seen it yet, but Firelord Ozai is like an indestructible thing, and it's kind of weird that like the answer to it is the Fire
The
Nation
Fire Nation
drill.
drill. Yeah, that
Anyway.
is kind of funny. Phoenix Fleet Airship up next. This is also a vehicle, so it's a 2 black 4/4 mythic flying crew 1. So 4 mana 4/4 flying crew 1 vehicle, like that's already okay. At the beginning of your end step, if you sacrificed a permanent this turn, create a token that's a copy of this vehicle. And as long as you control 8 or more permanents named Phoenix Fleet Airship, this vehicle is an artifact creature. So just, you don't have to crew it or anything. So at the very first read of this is like, oh, 8 is so many. But then you think, oh, okay, they double, right? So it's if they go untouched, you only need a few sacrifice triggers, not 8. And aside from just the black sacrifice cards, this also triggers off of the lands in the set, right? The tap lands that you can sacrifice to draw a card. So yeah, this one looks pretty sweet.
Also, if you only ever get to 4 of them, it's not like you're going to be that sad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you'll probably at least be able to crew 2 or 3 of them. So yeah, really nice. I don't know. I guess you kind of have to consider this sort of synergy build around. Like, obviously, you need some amount of sacrifice. What amount do you think you would be happy with? Because you don't need that much. Because if this is just like, okay, I didn't draw any of my sacrifice cards. It's a 4-mana 4/4 flying crew 1. That's not the worst. But what do you think you're aiming for here?
Like minimum 3 or 4.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a good number. Obviously, repeatable sack outlets are great. Like, Judy. We were talking for a long time about that card. That's a nice combo with this.
Also, notably, I mean, we talked a bit about this yesterday. I do think, and I still believe this, that black is probably the weakest color in the set.
Yeah.
But we just saw a really good black rare, and all 3 of black's mythics are like really strong as well.
Yep.
So I again, another thing that I really like, the weaker colors give you some juiced up reasons to go into them. So another example of part of the reason why I'm so looking forward to playing this set more.
Also, clues, right? Clue sacrifice. So that's actually a really easy way to do it. And also,
and
yeah,
the dual lands too. Like, yeah, there's tons of things.
Yeah. Next up
we
is
both gave
the
airship a plus, or sorry, an A.
Yeah, A. Next up is Ko the Face Stealer, 4 black for a 6/6 legendary creature at Mythic. When Ko enters, exile up to 1 other target creature. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may exile it. You can pay 1 life, choose a creature exiled with Ko's ability, and Ko has all the activated and triggered abilities of the last chosen creature. So like 6 mana 6/6, come in, exile something. We would already give that a very high grade. Not like things exiling. That means that, oh no, I was gonna say that means that the Earthbend lands don't come back. That's not true. That's exile as well. But turns off death triggers and things. It's not that much upside. It's kind of like trinkety upside, I think, on the rest of the card, but that's okay. It's going to come up sometimes, and the first line of text is just excellent.
And I mean, broken record, but another fantastic target to airbend.
Yes,
like it's just,
very much so.
Yeah, this one and the other one, I said we both gave an A plus to the last one, but it's Ko, and the next one that we both gave A pluses to. This card is fantastic.
We've got the Rise of Sozin up next. This is 4 black for a Mythic Saga. Chapter 1, destroy all creatures. Chapter 2, choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards of that name, exile them, that player shuffles. Flips into, on the 3rd chapter, Fire Lowered Sozin, which is a 5-mana, it's a 5/5, and it has Menace and Firebending 3. When it deals combat damage to a player, you can pay X. When you do, put any number of target creatures with mana value X or less from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
This was my pack 1 of the first draft of the set.
Oh, how lucky. Very nice. We see why you 15-0'd.
Yeah, that's why I went into blue-black.
Yeah.
I had a reason to go into black because this card's amazing. That chapter 2 is surprisingly skill testing.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like, both times that I cast this, I named a reasonable card and then realized that there was like a better card to name that if I'd played more of, I think I probably would have got. I think if you're like good enough at reading game states and what's been going on, you'll be able to hit a card with this more often than you think in their hand.
Right. Yeah, that's a good call.
Like whether it's a, like an octopus form that they haven't had a chance to cast, or whether it's a like a destroy an attacking creature thing that you haven't attacked into. So look for spots that you can kind of potentially get them on the 2nd chapter. But even if you don't, this is one of the only wraths in the set, which already makes it like a kind of a standout ability. And when you staple a 5/5 threatening creature to it, another A plus.
Yeah, I would say the Eloquentia. That's another one where, you know, it's likely that they're not going to tap out. But if they've been playing like they have it, sometimes when you have that kind of counterspell in hand, you leave it up for a while and you go, all right, this turn I probably have to tap out. I probably have to affect the board, right? So if you've got that sense, that's maybe a good one to name too. Okay, red. First one is Redirect Lightning. Single red mana for an instant lesson at rare. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay 5 life or pay 2. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So most of the time, you're gonna like redirect a removal spell onto your opponent's creature.
Casting, normally these effects are kind of bad, but anytime you have the option of casting this for 1 mana, it becomes so much easier to leave up.
Yeah,
And if you can leave this up, it can be a real blowout.
for sure. Yeah, like you completely can swing a game. Instead of them killing your best creature, you get to kill their best creature. 5 life is a lot, but that's, there's gonna be games where you go, okay, I can't leave up the 1 or I can't cast it here. I'll hold up 3 instead of playing my 2-drop. Like the fact that there's an option there, I think is a real benefit to this card.
Also, just being a red lesson that you can pitch to like some of the rummaging effects
Mm-hmm.
that are in the format is sometimes going to be important for like blue red type of decks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall, we're both pretty reasonably happy to play this. Like you gave it a C plus, I gave it a C minus.
Yeah, seems pretty good to me. Next up is Zhao the Moon Slayer. This is 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary creature at rare. It has Menace, and it says non-basic lands enter tapped. Also has the ability, not super relevant, but it comes out sometimes. 7 mana, put a conquest counter on this creature. As long as there's a conquest creature on it, non-basic lands are mountains. So it's mostly a 2 mana 2/2 Menace. But sometimes your opponent has the sack lands in play, and you get to turn those into mountains, and they can't sack them anymore. So it's gonna come up a non-zero number of games.
There are, I mean, there's a common, an uncommon, and a cycle of rare lands at
Yeah,
least
that's
that
those
like
two.
come
Yeah,
in untapped. So there, I mean, that second line will sometimes do something.
totally.
But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, not to discourage, I agree with you. It's mostly a 2 mana 2/2 menace. We both gave Zhao a C minus.
Next, we've got Firebender Ascension, the red one in the cycle. 1 in a red for an enchantment at rare. When this enters, you make a 2/2 red soldier token with Firebending 1. And whenever a creature you control whenever a creature you control attacking causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, you can copy that ability, and you may choose new targets for that copy. So yeah, mostly that's firebending, but there's a few other attack triggers here and there.
Yeah, like Combustion Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a good one. You blow up one of their things unless they take damage equal to Combustion Man's power. That's pretty cool.
Master Pian Dao. Like, yeah, there's a bunch. I think there's. I mean, I didn't actually check, but I think there's probably more than we realize. I mean, even the 5/4 common beetle that like attacks and sacrifices things.
Yeah. And so this one, compared to the other ones, the white and the blue one, this one's got a good floor, right? Just 2 mana 2/2 firebending 1. Like we're fairly happy with that already.
Notably, the two. I mean, we kind of keep bringing this up. Airbending, like almost all the bendings impressed me slightly more than I thought they would, and I
Right.
already thought they were good.
Agree.
And this is another example of being weak to airbending, right? Like just getting rid of that token.
Yep.
But yeah, I gave this a B minus. You gave it a C plus.
Next up, we've got Firebending Student. 1 a red for a rare. It's a 1/2 prowess, and it has Firebending X, or X is this creature's power.
I think this card's nice. Like the ability to prowess for a bunch and get like firebending to me just seems really strong.
Yeah, I think I graded this one. I didn't revise the grade for this one. I think I graded a little bit lower than I should have. I have come up since I graded it on just like firebending whatever, right? Firebending 1 on this, and then grows. It's slightly awkward because you have to cast your spell pre-combat, but often just casting a removal spell, right? Like not necessarily a pump spell, which can nick you a lot of mana, but you go kill your thing, cast my lightning strike. This is a 2/2. Get in, maybe cast something else. Yeah, it's a solid card.
Well, you can. I mean, you can attack and respond to the trigger by pumping this. So at
Oh,
least, even if you kill
true.
it, you get at least one fire mana,
Yeah, I
even if
didn't
they do
consider
kill
that. That's a good call.
it. But yeah, I like this card. Yeah, you're right. You were a little bit lower than me. You gave it a C minus. I was on a C plus.
Yeah, I'll join you on that C plus. Next up is the last Agni Kai. This is 1 in a red for an instant at rare. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. If the creature the opponent controls is dealt excess damage this way, you add that much red. And until end of your turn, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. So 2 mana fight in red, where usually your creatures are smaller than in green. That's not very good.
There, we both graded this a D minus.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is enough prowessy stuff in like blue red that I think it might be like a D or a D plus, which
Yeah.
isn't to really sell it, but I think it might be playable in some spots.
Right. Also, I guess, I started by saying like, oh, 2 mana fight, that's not very good. But maybe you look at it as the other way, where it's like, okay, you're not going to kill their best thing, but maybe you kill a 1/1, maybe you kill a 2/2, and you do get a lot of mana, and maybe you have other firebenders in the battlefield, and then you get to, dump your hand or cast, basically a ritual effect, right? You get to cast like 6 or 7 mana worth of spells in that turn. So yeah, I could see that being the way you're supposed to look at it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So starting low, but we might be a little bit off on this one. Next up is Wartime Protesters. 3 in a red for a 4/4 ally at rare. Has haste, and it says whenever another ally you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, and it gains haste until end of turn. So when we're talking about 4 mana creatures that those need enter the battlefield effects or protection, I do count haste as an enter the battlefield effect. It has immediate impact.
Yeah, I got to play this in the red. I told you my red green deck or my green based red splash deck had a bit of an ally sub theme. I had this card. I also played against it, and it's kind of terrifying. Like,
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
scary. We both graded it pretty highly. I gave it a B plus, and you're at a B.
Yeah. Just think of in a red white deck pairing this with all those token makers. Like that's pretty sweet. Next up is Ran and Shaw. This is 3 red for a rare legendary dragon. It's a 4/4 flyer with firebending 2. And when it enters, if you cast it and there are 3 or more dragons and or lesson cards in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of Ran and Shaw, except it's not legendary. Also has the ability 3 in a red, dragons you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. I think this card's really good.
Yeah, I didn't get to play with this, but I watched a bit of Lola streaming, and he had a red blue deck, which is like probably the perfect version for this. Because one thing I didn't even realize, the blue red signpost uncommon is a dragon.
Oh yeah, wow. That's really funny.
So
Okay.
you only need like 2 lessons plus the signpost to go to your graveyard to get the trigger.
Cool.
If you don't get the trigger, it's fine, but not
Mm-hmm.
exciting.
Right.
And I do think it's kind of hard to get the trigger, but if you do, like it literally attacked for 20.
Right. Yeah, like that's pretty good.
Yeah. So
Also, yeah.
your grade's a little higher. I'm not sure where this will land. Like if maybe if you evaluate it only as like blue red,
Mm-hmm.
I'd go higher. But I gave Ram and Shaw a B, and you're up at an A.
Yeah, one thing, just a note on lessons and like all the cards that care about them being in the graveyard. I noticed my opponents. I didn't do too much of that yesterday, but my opponents they had no problem getting to their thresholds for their cards that like this. Most of them aren't 3 or more, so maybe a little bit harder for this one, but that just didn't seem to be a problem very often. Okay, next up is Faded Firepower. X red for an enchantment at rare. Has flash and says this enchantment enters with X fire counters on it. If a source you control will deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus the amount equal to the number of fire counters on this enchantment instead. So a good
This
place
one's
to put your firebending mana, basically.
yeah, this one's a mythic though, not a rare.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of low on this. because I'm always kind of worried about the worst case scenarios. But I've heard good things so far, and I'm willing to admit I could be very, very, very wrong with this. So I gave it a D, which is probably far too low, and you gave it a C, which may even also be too low.
Right, because like I call it a firebending, but it's pretty good if you just cast it. I think even for on 5 mana when you get to 6, like that's really good. And there's I've seen some comments, somebody in chat even saying like, this is this a win more card? I kind of make a distinction between win more and helps you break parity, right? Like win more to me is like the blue enchantment we saw where it's like, hey, if you've already dealt, already had a lot of unblockable creatures, like all right, then you get the thing. This helps you go from maybe behind or parity board state to a winning board states, right? So I think that's an important distinction to make there.
Yeah, like instant speed overrun, if you just think of it like that, would be a pretty powerful
Right,
card.
yeah. Yeah, do you consider Overrun a win more card? Maybe you do. Maybe that's true. But I think you can kind of view them pretty similarly. All right. The red mythic saga is The Legend of Roku. 2 red. First chapter. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may play those cards. Chapter 2. Add 1 mana of any color. Sorry, I said end of turn. Until the end of your next turn, you can play those cards. So it's the good wording. Chapter 2. Add 1 mana of any color. And then on chapter 3, it flips into Avatar Roku, which is a 4/4 firebending 4 with the ability 8 mana, create a 4/4 red dragon token with flying and firebending 4. Okay.
These things are all so sweet.
Yeah, they're great. They're really, really good.
It's also, there's some of the cards yesterday that we reviewed, some of them are based on having lessons and or sagas. So like Gurupathic, for example, can find one of your sagas. So just having like this as a potential target for that makes those kinds of cards a little bit better too. And again, not white, but I will again say like just a fantastic airbending target because you can redraw 3 cards again. This card's great. We both gave it an A.
Yeah, say the line, Bart. Yeah, very, very good card. Next up, all right, finally we got a not so great one. Sozin's Comet is 3 red for a sorcery at Mythic. Each creature you control gains Firebending 5 until end of turn. Foretell, random mechanic here. Foretell for 2 and a red. So Foretell, for those who don't know, says during your turn you can pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it later on on a later turn for its Foretell cost. So just splitting up the mana costs between different turns, basically.
That being said, rituals, you need to be doing a lot with that mana to make it worthwhile, and I don't see it here. So we both gave this an F.
Yeah, there's gonna be a clip or two, I'm sure, where somebody's gonna go off with this, but don't recommend putting it in your deck. Okay, so this is green now. First green card is Earthen Ally. Single green mana for a rare ally. It's an 0/2, but says this creature gets +1/+0 for each color among allies you control. So it's already going to start as a 1/2. And then also has the ability 2 and Wooburg, so 7 mana total. Earthbend 5.
We had another, I think we did the same thing here where I graded this card on like dinged it for the likelihood of being able to actually do that. And I think you graded it more seeing as how hard is it to build a deck that does that.
Right, yeah.
And I think both answers are legitimate. I think that it's not that hard to make 5 colors of mana, but there's a lot of times that you're just not, it won't be worth it, right? So yeah, we are 2 grades apart, but I do think this card's pretty good. Are you willing to play this without any chance of the second ability?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think if you're just looking at this as like Isamaru basically for a green-white deck, I think that's good enough. Like, it's not going to be one of the better cards in your deck, but a solid one.
Yeah, and an ally. So yeah,
it's an ally.
I think green-white, I agree. Yeah, there's other ways to, but and the 5 color is, I think, supported enough that it will be possible. So you gave this a B-, I gave it a C.
Next, we've got a way to enable the last card, Great Divide Guide, which is 1 green for a 2/3 ally at rare. It says each land and ally you control has tap, add 1 mana of any color.
That ability is slightly less relevant than it reads just because waterbending already kind of lets you do that.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Still very good, but I just like that I had that come up, so I had this card as well in one of my drafts, and I noticed there's a couple times that I didn't even need all the extra mana I was just dumping it into waterbending stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we both gave this a B, but yeah, sweet card.
Yeah. Next is Earthbender Ascension. This is 2 and a green for an enchantment at rare. When it enters, you Earthbend 2. Then search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Also says Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. When you do, if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and it gains trample until end of turn. So yeah, this it's kind of funny how like some of the other ascensions are very much like, all right, you got to work for this being worth a card, and this one's already like, all right, like not quite a 2-for-1, but you're very happy with just the first line of text there.
I bumped this down when I was reviewing things like a day or two ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I regret it because I also had a chance to draft this card, and it was great. Like, it not only spots you the first trigger, but when your earthbended land dies, it also spots you the second trigger.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
And then anytime you earthbend, in addition to any time you play a land, you're like getting triggers off this, which eventually start giving you +1/+1 and trample to this.
Yep.
So I had like this was in my mono green deck, and I had a game where I killed someone on turn like 5 or 6, I think, where I rock a lance to make like a massive earth bandit thing, and then played a
Nice.
land and gave it trample and just killed them. This card was excellent. So you gave it a B plus, and I gave it a B that should be a B plus.
Yeah, I in the early access event, I played against Sirkovitz, and Sirkovitz was on a nearly mono green deck with a lot of earthbending in it, and I basically like it was a fairly close game. I ended up winning it, but the entire time for like 3 turns, I was just like, I hope there's no way to give these creatures trample, because if there's a way to give my like Sirkovitz creatures trample, I'm just dead here. I had a lot of jump blockers, but at any moment I could have, I felt we could have died. So trample I think is a big deal, giving those to your earthbended lands.
Makes sense.
Next one's really interesting. Avatar Destiny is 2 green green for an aura at rare. Enchant creature you control. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature in your graveyard and is an avatar in addition to its other types. When the enchanted creature dies, mill cards equal to its power. Then return this card to its owner's hand and up to 1 creature card milled this way to the battlefield under your control. So like that's a lot going on here. um, I often like when I see rare aura, I'm like primed to be like, okay, this probably isn't very good, but I think this one is pretty good.
Well, so we're 2 grades apart on this, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this one's probably worth discussing a little bit
Yeah.
because, like, there's upside and there's downside.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I say, I want to say, when I say pretty good, better than you might expect from like a random aura.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, let's just go over the use
For
cases, right?
sure.
Like upside is you make something huge, they trade with it, it comes back and you get a creature to spot it, and then you make the next thing huge, and it just like this card can just single-handedly win you the game.
Or kill you by decking you, notably.
Right. Well, so the downsides are not only that it can literally deck you because
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
creature is going to be so big you could mill it. Like I don't even know how many activations of this you're going to get in an average game, but it's also weak to say the line, weak to airbending,
Airbending.
weak
Yeah.
to bounce. There's multiple like enchantments that lock down creatures. And I think the downsides are enough on top of the fact that they can always just respond to you, targeting your creature with an aura and,
Yeah.
and get you that way. I think the card's not like great. Like
Right.
I
I agree.
graded it as a C, you're at a B minus. So my grade is more of a like it's a fine card.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I'm gonna come closer to where you are on that. But playable, and I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, and there will like it there will be some matchups that it performs much better than others.
Yeah, exactly. If your opponent is playing blue white, it's gonna be a lot worse when they have both lockdown enchantments. The Earth King up next. This is 3 and a green for a legendary ally at rare. It's a 2/2, and when it enters, you make a 4/4 green bear creature token. And it says, whenever one or more creatures you control with power 4 or greater attack, search your library for that many basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Okay.
The rare case of a card that is both good with your airbending and weak to your opponent's
Yeah,
airbending.
very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, because the 4/4 is not legendary, so you can just make a bunch of those.
Yeah, and you're getting, like, this is just so much stats for 4 mana, right? It's in a lot of game states. Like, if your opponent's ever stumbling and you play this, they're gonna, slump in their chair a little bit.
Yep, card's great. We both gave it an A.
Yep. Diligent Zookeeper up next. This one I thought was from the Commander set, and I had to double check the set symbol. This is 3 and a green for a 4/4 ally at rare. It says each non-human creature you control gets +1/+1 for each of its creature types to a maximum of 10. It just seems like a Commander line of text to me, but it's definitely relevant. One thing to note is there's a lot of humans in this set. Like, this isn't actually going to pump that many creatures. And often it's just going to give the creatures +1/+1.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That I disagree with heavily.
You're right, because all the hybrid animals. Yeah, I take that back. Yeah, absolutely.
Almost anything that it pumps is going to be a minimum of 2.
Yes, I'm wrong.
And then there's
I'm
also
wrong.
the 1 mana whatever farmyard animals thing that becomes a 1 mana 5/5.
Oh,
The,
fair,
the
yeah.
boar,
That's cool, yeah.
the boar, elk, bird, whatever.
Pig. Or, no, you have to use boar, you said that, yeah. Okay.
So, but overall, I agree. Like it's a 4 mana, no ETB, no protection. Sometimes has no upside ally. So not anything super special. Like you can kind of build around it to make it a little bit better. I gave this a C. You gave it a C plus.
Yep. Next, we've got Elemental Teachings, which is 4 and a green for an instant lesson at rare. Search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, put the chosen cards into your graveyard, the rest onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. So it's like a ramp version of Gifts Ungiven, basically.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's quite the callback.
Yeah, hands up if you got that reference.
Yeah. I mean, it will work a lot of the time because there are like the duels and the colorless lands that are able to produce multiple colors. So I think most times you'll have 4 lands to get, but it's still just not worth spending 5 mana on.
Yeah, like, who cares at this point, right? So, pretty low grade. What do we give it?
Both gave it a D minus.
Next, we've got Badger Mole Cub. 1 and a green for a 2/2 at Mythic. When it enters, you earthbend 1, and it says, whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. Okay.
Super efficient. Card's great. I had a chance to draft this too, and it performed exactly as well as I wanted it to.
Nice.
Both gave it a B plus.
Yeah, just super solid card. Next up, we've got The Legend of Kyoshi. This is 4 green, Mythic Saga. First chapter, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Second chapter, Earthbend X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That land becomes an island in addition to its other types. Backside, chapter 3 flips into Avatar Kyoshi, which is a 5/4. Lands you control have trample and hexproof. And tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control.
So this one requires, like, the floor on this one is way lower than the others.
Yeah, I think this is the worst of the bunch, but still solid.
Right. I mean, if you have no board, it does almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're drawing only like 2 cards off of this, which it's not that hard to have a creature with at least 2 power in play.
Yeah.
Draw 2 chapter 1, Earthbend, let's call it 3, whatever, 3 or 4 chapter
Right.
2, and then make a 5/4 chapter 3 is still like a really good card.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, giving trample to your big lands is something that I'm definitely into. So yeah, worse but still good. What do we give it?
We both gave it an A minus.
Okay, gold cards now. So we've got Aang Swift Savior. This is the one that I first picked yesterday and didn't end up playing. So this is 1 blue-white for a 2/3 legendary ally at rare. Aang has Flash and Flying, and when Aang enters, Airbend up to one target creature or spell. And then Waterbend 8, Transform Aang. Aang turns into Aang and La, Ocean's Fury. 5/5, Reach Trample. When this attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. So much going on here. Wow.
Yeah, this is my vote for best rare in the set. Like,
Yeah.
this card seems so good.
Very, very good. Yeah.
I gave Aang an A plus. You gave him an A.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be right about this. This is just like extremely efficient, sets the opponent back, turns into something giant. Yeah, great card. Next, we've got Katara, Water Tribe's Hope. This is 2 white, blue, blue. Legendary creature ally at rare. She's a 3/3 vigilance, and when she enters, you make a 1/1 ally token. She also has Waterbend X. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX until the end of your turn. X can't be 0. Activate only during your turn. Love that they put X can't be 0 because it's very easy to wipe your whole board if that was the case by misclicking. They learned from Mirror Entity. Okay, so 5 mana, 3/3 vigilance comes with a 1/1 friend. Okay, that's okay. But that pump ability is really, really good.
Right. Well, I mean, you want to not be too far behind when you cast this because it's better mostly on offense, but I think I'm too low on this because, like,
Me
so
too.
3/3 plus a 1/1 is already pretty good at gumming up the board. Not to mention that you can threaten to go, or no, sorry, it's activated only on your turn. I remember there was something. So
Yeah.
on defense, it's pretty good. On offense, if you have nothing else and just play like your sixth land and attack with Katara and your 1/1, you're threatening to make your things into 7/7s.
Yeah, that's huge. Literally.
Yeah, this card kills so quickly. So I think I'm too low on this one as well, despite the casting cost. I gave Katara a B plus, and you are on an A
I
minus.
think it should be in the A range at least. Yeah, A minus could easily
Yeah,
be an A though.
A minus to A is probably what I would change it to.
Azula, Cunning Usurper, up next. 2 blue, black, black for a legendary creature at rare. She's a 4/4 with Firebending 2. And when she enters, target opponent exiles a non token creature they control. Then they exile a non land card from the graveyard. During your turn, you may cast cards exiled with Azula, and you may cast them as though they had flash. Mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells.
There's a surprisingly high range of results from this card.
Yes, absolutely. Because we're gonna say it once again. Say the line, Bart. The airbending kind of, you can nab your creature back. That's one little thing, but there's a lot of other things. So I'll let you talk on this one.
Well, yeah, so you can airbend your stuff that they steal back. I
Yep.
mean, on the flip side, if they happen to be somehow airbending with Azula, it's a fantastic
Absurd.
target.
Yeah.
Also, if you have an earthbended land, like that's a card that they just don't get to cast.
Right. Yeah.
So not only do you get to choose what to sacrifice, which can be, your worst target, but also you do need to have this card survive in order to do that. So the upside is what, like a 5-for-1, or no, 4-for-1, because you get a creature of theirs. The card from a graveyard doesn't matter, but then you get a creature plus 2 things of theirs. So yeah, literal 4-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some additional subtext there, and we both gave Azula an A.
Yeah. All that to say, still a very good card, but do expect sometimes not going to be just like a game-winning card just because you cast it. Next is Zuko Conflicted. Black-red for a 2/3 legendary rare. At the beginning of your first main phase, choose one that hasn't been chosen, and you lose 2 life. So the list is draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Zuko, add red. The last one here, exile Zuko, then return him to the battlefield under an opponent's control. I don't think I'm too conflicted about this one. I think this card is not very good.
I think it's passable on turn 2, isn't it? Like pretty good on turn 2.
So, yeah, I mean, you're losing 2 life every turn, though.
But they're losing more.
Yeah, that's fair. If you go, like, make it a 3/2, or sorry, 3/4. But I think you're gonna want to draw your card first, no? Or maybe not. Maybe you just maybe you value the damage more. Maybe I am
Yeah,
conflicted. Maybe I've taken this is a tough one to figure out.
I I I agree.
My gut still says not good though.
All three of the first abilities are like pretty powerful to do on exactly turn 3.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? And yeah, wheels are spinning here. Wheels are turning. You could just sacrifice it, right? Like obviously, maybe it's not. You're not getting a full card worth of it, but you do because you draw a card. So I'm coming around. I'm coming around.
Well, also, like if you use, let's say the first thing you do is grow it to a 3/4, and then you get a bunch of attacks in.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got them low enough, you can even choose to give Zuko to them earlier than the fourth
Yeah,
time.
that's super true. And they have to keep taking damage. Yeah, all right, all right. You know what? I'm at least interested in reconsidering. I've got concepts of a plan for this card.
Yeah, I mean, my goal here is to talk you up to my grade,
Mm-hmm.
and you have it at a D, and I'm at a D plus, so it's not a big difference either way.
I think yeah.
But I do think I might be right about the D
I
plus.
think so too, and I also think there's absolutely a world where this is like a full letter grade better than we're expecting, or
Yeah,
more
could be.
even.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One of the big question marks for sure. Cool card. Okay, we got Ozai, the Phoenix King. 2 black, black, red, red for a legendary mythic. 7/7 trample haste firebend 4. And if you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. Ozai also has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana. Heck of a card.
So are you okay casting this turn 6 with no other firebending? Like meaning are you okay with shields downing this?
I think in a lot of games you will be. A lot of games you're just like, oh, 7/7 trample haste. Like, that's there you go. I guess it depends
Yeah.
on what their life total is, right? Like if they're a little bit higher and they can just take 7, if they're at 18 or something, they take 7 on tap, kill it. If that's a consideration, they've had some cards in hand for a while. Yeah, I agree. You probably want to consider holding it.
Right. But it is nice that there will be games where on turn 6
Yeah.
you can all like you just need 2 more firebending and then
Mm-hmm.
this thing's unkillable.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, card seems great. I gave it an A minus. You gave it an A.
Yeah, and so you get to keep the mana. Chat's just asking. You get to keep the mana as long as this card's still around, right? Like once this
Yeah.
leaves, you're gonna lose the mana. Next up is Toph, Hard-Headed Teacher. 2 red green for a legendary creature ally at rare. 3/4. When she enters, you can discard a card. If you do, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1, and if it's a lesson spell, put an additional +1/+1 counter on that land. So essentially Earthbend 2.
This isn't so. This is the second example of a card that I just didn't grok properly because for some reason, every once in a while, I'll do the thing where I read spell as like a Hearthstone
Oh,
spell.
yeah, just like anything, right?
Well, like as like an instant or sorcery.
Oh, I see. Oh, so the opposite. I see what you're saying. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just you just have to cast
Anything.
anything.
Yeah. I think I might have done the same thing too. I don't usually do that, but I think because the first line of text kind of primes you for that, or instead of sorcery, I think I rated it that way as well.
Yeah. So this card's actually pretty good.
Really good. Yeah. No, we're probably both a little bit too low on this. So what do we give it first, just so we can maybe readjust?
Yeah, we both gave it a C, and I did have a chance to play this in the red green deck,
Yeah.
and I never actually needed it because I was always just killing them. But it felt good to have it in my hand.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. I know this card's really good.
Yeah, this card's probably closer to like a B, maybe a B plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say revised grade of B plus. I think that
Yeah.
sounds appropriate. All right, teaches us. Let's be a little more literate next time. Next up, we've got Boomy Unleashed. This is 3 red green for a 4/5 legendary ally at Mythic. It's got Trample. When it enters, Earthbend 4. And whenever Boomy deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Only land creatures can attack during that combat phase.
Yeah, card's insane. Like
Yeah.
just 5/4 plus 4/4 for 5 mana, and like more than half of that having trample.
Mm-hmm.
You gave this an A plus, which is probably what it is. I gave it an A.
Yeah, just really, really nice. Next up, we've got Earth King's Lieutenant. Green white for a ally at rare. It's a 1/1 trample. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each ally you control, each other ally you control. And whenever an ally you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So for those who have played with this card, this is like a ally Thalia's Lieutenant with trample. And yeah, it's a really good card. Really strong card, especially because there's a lot of ways to go wide.
Yeah, I played against this in a game and it was getting kind of big. And I was like, oh, I have an airbending card in my hand. I can just airbend it. But then they had like three other allies. So I was like, well, this
uh,
actually might not be in my best interest. So
right.
card's pretty good. We both gave it a B plus.
Yep. I could even see that being a bit better, especially because I kind of have an inkling that green white or like white allies is one of the better things to be doing. I'm saying that as
Yep.
somebody who, won with that deck. Next up is Sandbender Scavengers. Black white for a 1/1 rare. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. When this creature dies, you may exile it. When you do, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's a very build around-y synergy card, but in black white, it's going to be the thing you're doing.
It
Fairly.
doesn't feel like a rare though.
I thought it was an uncommon when I first read it. I thought this was the sign because we didn't have the signpost uncommon the enchantment when this was previewed. I don't think, or at least I hadn't seen it. So, yeah,
Like I would have expected them to print this at like a 2/1 or something, you know?
yeah, but
Like
it's
for a rare, I mean.
right, but it's still not a bad card.
I mean, no, it's not a bad card, but it starts off as a 1/1. You need to go through hoops to
Mm-hmm.
grow it, and
Mm-hmm.
then growing it doesn't even like guarantee you a hit. Like
Right.
there's not a lot of one drops in the set, and sacrificing two things to make this a 3/3 and then returning a 2 drop
Hell yeah, you're doing
is
it.
nice, but it's not like broken.
No, I agree. I agree.
So yeah, I'm not super hyped about this. I gave this a C minus. You give it a C.
Yeah, which you know. I could see like this is gonna scale with how focused your deck is, right? Like in constructed, it's gonna
Sure.
do more things than most limited decks, but you can also have a limited deck where you really go off with it. Next up is Sokka Bold Boomeranger, red blue for a 1/1 legendary ally at rare. When Sokka enters, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Whenever you cast an artifact or a lesson, put a +1/+1 counter on him.
Kind of just the same thing we just saw, where I'm surprised at how small it starts off for a rare.
I agree to some degree, but I think that like if you, I mean, it's gonna depend on your hand. Maybe if your opening hand is a little bit land heavy, you don't want to discard a spell. But like getting the first lesson in the graveyard to turn on your other cards, I guess yeah. Starting as a 1/1 means it probably can't attack on turn 3 very often.
And also, like we've seen uncommon signposts that grow any targets and are a 2/2 for 2 mana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So is the disc like it's also discard before draw, which is like way worse than draw than discard. Like, is this card kind of bad? Dare I say it?
I'd hesitate to say that because I think if it's fairly reasonable to assume in a red blue deck you're gonna make this a 2 mana 3/3 at very least if you cast on turn 2, and like it sets up your. This is gonna help you keep more hands, right? Like filtering 2 is a big deal.
Yeah, we're 2 grades apart, and we'll see where it ends up. I
Mm-hmm.
could totally see you being right. I'm at a C minus. You're at a C plus.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is Beifong's Bounty Hunters. 2 black green for a 4/4 at rare. Whenever a non-land creature you control dies, Earthbend X, where X is that creature's power. That's it. Really good though. It counts itself too. So when this dies, you get to Earthbend 4.
Yeah, woof. This thing hits like a truck.
Yeah.
Not much else to say. We both gave it an A.
Yeah, and if you ever, like, attacking seems good with this card on the battlefield, but if you are in more of a grindy game state with some sacrifice outlets, you basically just think of this as like all your creatures sacrifice for 2. Yeah, sweet. Next up is Iroh, Team Master. 1 red white, legendary creature ally at rare, 2/2. When Iroh enters, you create a food token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponents gain control of target permanents you control. When you do, create a 1/1 ally token, put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that opponents control, that your opponents control. Or same thing in 1v1. So it's 3 mana 2/2, you make a food. Not super excited about that, but you immediately essentially get 2/2/2s. Like 3 mana, 2/2/2s, your opponent gets a food. How happy are you with that?
That seems pretty, like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I agree. And if you can keep fueling it, maybe you have some more food. Maybe give them a land potentially. The slight awkward thing, I guess, is it's not awkward. It's just something to consider is that they can sack the food, right? So you don't actually grow anything if they do it right there. Yeah, but it's still good. Like 3 mana, make 2/2/2s. Give them a food. I think that's fine.
There's some other stuff like you can give them like some auras type of
the
stuff.
auras. Yep, the pacifism effect for sure.
The pacifism would let them sacrifice it for 5.
For 5, yeah. Well, that's the thing though. Like a lot of them,
so,
when I was going through this, a lot of things you might give your opponent, even a food. Like sure, they get it and they can sacrifice that, but if you're like a red-white aggro deck, they don't really have all that much time to do that most of the time. Like if you do run out of steam and the game comes to a halt and they get the time to do that, yeah, you're probably gonna lose more than you were anyways. But it's not like, oh, they just can sack. I was kind of mentioning they can sack the food. That's not often going to be something they want to do on turn 4.
Yeah, and getting 2 bodies, both of which are allies and the colors that are interested in that, means overall I think Iroh's pretty good. I gave him a B-. You gave him a C+.
Yeah. The Lion Turtle up next. 1 blue-green for a 3/6 legendary creature at rare. Vigilance Reach. When it enters, you gain 3 life. It says it can't attack or block unless there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard, and it taps to add a mana of any color. So it's like 3 mana ramp spell that gains you 3 before it can attack or block. And then, like I said yesterday, I saw a lot of opponents enabling their cards like this pretty quickly. Like getting lessons to the graveyard pretty darn quick. Either by casting them, because most of them are just pretty good. You want to put them in your deck. Or by milling them or whatever.
It's Uro? Is that
Yeah, it's gonna be banned in Modern. Lion Turtle banned in Modern, everybody.
Yeah. It's not like, obviously it's not Uro, but it's also
not Uro.
That far off of it.
Yeah.
So the card's kind of interesting. It's going to depend on how, because when we were doing the archetype shells yesterday, my concern with blue-green is just that while you're doing this like spinning to get all the lessons in your graveyard, that you fall a little bit too far behind and it's not quite fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
So the 3 life is nice. I don't know if it's quite enough to make this from an okay card into a good card. I gave it a C. You gave it a C+.
One thing to consider as well, playing against this card, like if your opponent has this card in 2 lessons in the graveyard and open mana, like, are you going to attack into it when your creature could get eaten? Like, you really have to think about that. So,
yep, that's true. For the size of this thing in the show, though, I think it could have been it's
a little
bigger
beefier.
Than a 3/6.
A little beefier, yeah. Next up is Katara the Fearless. This is... So now we have a cycle of, I think there's 1 rare for all 3 color combinations. So this is the Bant one. She's green, white, blue for a 3/3 ally at rare, legendary creature. If a triggered ability of an ally you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
There's a lot of triggered abilities, but the casting cost to the size to the effect don't quite do it for me. We both gave Katara a D.
Yeah, I'd be pretty into this if this was a 2-color card, but like a lot of your allies decks are, I would say, aggressive leaning, and as always, splashing an aggressive deck can always lead to some issues curving out. So yeah, no, I'm with you there. Sirgravit says he went off with it today, so we'll see. Next up is Aang at the Crossroads. So I guess there's multiple of Bant ones. So this is 2 green, white, blue for a 3/3 legendary ally at rare. Has flying and says when it enters, you may look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. And whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you transform Aang at the beginning of the next end step. Transforms into Aang, Destined Savior. 4/4 flyer. Land creatures you control have vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 2. This just does so much. Like, you probably have to read this card again to really just, like, take in how much it does. But 3/3 flyer for 5. Get to put a creature in this from the top 5 on the battlefield. And, yeah, transforms into a big thing that'll take over the game, most likely.
Yep. We both gave this an A. I could see it being even better.
Yep, absolutely. Fire Lord Azula up next. 1 blue, black, red for a 4/4 legendary creature at rare. Firebending 2. And whenever you cast a spell while Fire Lord Azula is attacking, you copy that spell and you can choose new targets for that copy.
This one, so needing to attack with your hard to cast 4-drop and then also needing additional things.
Mm-hmm.
All together makes for a kind of awkward package. So
Yep.
I'm not that into Azula here. I gave her a D minus. You gave her a D.
Yeah, totally. Next up is Toph, the first Metal Bender. I think you had this one in your deck, if I remember correctly. This is 1 red, green, white for a 3/3 legendary creature ally at rare. Non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. And at the beginning of your end step, Earthbend 2. So we mostly care about that second part there. But if you happen to have random non-token artifact lying around, sure, you can turn those into creatures. So, like, 4 mana 3/3 that immediately Earthbends 2 and then keeps doing it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I splashed Toph in my last deck, the green white allies deck, as my only red card, and it was just great. Like it's already an ally. It helps you go even more wide. Provides a lot of steady stream of value. So I gave Toph a C plus. You gave her a C.
Sokka. Almost got it. Sokka, Tenacious Tactician. 1 blue, red, white for a 3/3 legendary creature ally at rare. Menace and Prowess. Other allies you control have Menace and Prowess. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you make a 1/1 ally token.
This one might be good.
Yeah. So this is like, I guess most often, I guess one thing to think about with all these 3-color cards is what 2-color pair you're often going to splash it in, right?
Sure.
I think this one is like red, blue, splash the white most of the time. Like you're just gonna have the highest density of non-creatures, but I could see some blue-white decks as well getting there.
And red white. Like honestly, maybe all 3.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I have very, very low confidence in my grade on this one, but I went with a C minus, and you were on a D plus.
Yeah, still fairly low on 4 mana. Doesn't do anything right away. Firelord Zuko up next. This is red, white, black for a 2/4 ally at rare, legendary creature. Firebending X, where X is Firelord Zuko's power. And whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
Flavorful, but even more not worth the squeeze than Azula. We both gave Zuko an F.
But it's so good with airbending. we can say that the entire time. Yeah, I almost wonder if it's not a complete F. I don't know. I could see having. Maybe I can't though. Maybe there's like not enough airbending to really have that be reliable. But yeah, we'll start there. Iroh Grand Lotus is 3 green, blue, red for a 5/5 legendary ally at rare. Firebending 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery in your graveyard has flashback. That flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. During your turn, each lesson in your graveyard has flashback 1.
It is somewhat annoying that a lot of the blue lessons don't really work with this because it's during your turn. So like Sokka's haiku and like it'll quench you. The counter spells don't really do anything unless they play into them. The octopus form like doesn't work because you can't protect Iroh on their turn. So you do need to have like more proactive lessons for this to really pop off, but still like a lot of power in here.
Yeah, totally. Like you could consider this like a 7 mana card if you really wanted to, right? Like
Yeah.
to we're always harp on the expensive cards, but it does have immediate impact if you consider it like that. Um, yeah, it's a cool one. This one's definitely got some upside. So what do you give this?
B plus from me and a B from you.
Yeah. Next up, we've got all right. Roll credits. Avatar Aang. This is the big one. This is red, green, white, blue for a 4/4 legendary creature ally at Mythic, flying, firebending 2. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, you draw a card, and then if you've done all of them this turn, you transform it into Aang, Master of Elements, 6/6 flyer. Spells you cast cost Wooburg less, and at the beginning of your upkeep, at the beginning of each upkeep, you may transform Aang. If you do, gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4+1/+1 counters on him, and it deals 4 damage to each opponent. So big hoop to jump through here.
I think you can just ignore the backside.
Yeah, I guess if you're not a dreamer, this is true.
I'm a realist, Alex. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
But even so, like just tacking on draw a card to a bunch of your cards and then having this as like a 4/4 when it attacks, make 2 mana draw a card, still
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, no,
It's just the
definitely.
question is the casting cost enough to hold it back?
I'm thinking yes. I think that's pretty restrictive. So like you're not. Yeah, it's tough. It's
I'm mostly with you. Like again,
right.
it's got the 4 mana, no ETB, no protection, but it's also like a fake 4 mana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's more like, whatever, 6 or 7 mana, no ETB, no protection type
Sure.
of thing.
Yeah. Get your credit right
And
away.
we both gave it a D plus.
Yeah. Could be a little low on that, but all right. Colorless cards in the home stretch here. White Lotus Tile. 4-mana artifact mythic enters tapped. Tap it to add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. Eh.
Yeah, just making mana is definitely not doing it here. We both gave it an F.
Yeah, totally. Next up is Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong. 6-mana legendary artifact in Mythic. 1 tap, scry 2. Whenever you scry or surveil, look at the top card of your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Do this only once each turn, and reminder text here, you look at the card after you scry or surveil. Interesting value engine. That's yeah, it could be pretty good. Like it's 6 mana and then 7 to actually do anything, but you do start to get back that mana pretty quickly and start to draw cards.
Also, you can, like, if you wait till turn 7 and you manage to make it so that the 7th land you play is the Crystal Grotto version.
Oh yeah. The Rumble Arena.
Rumble Arena, yeah, and then like earthbending the Rumble Arena, so you get to do it multiple times. There's ways you can kind of pop off with this, which I know firsthand because I had this card in like the mono green deck I drafted.
Nice.
It was excellent, like insanely good there, with the caveat that it's going to be better against like unfocused new decks, right?
Yeah. When you face, I don't know if you caught how much DeFore was drafting. He was just like forcing mono red, that 1-drop, that fire bends if you got a lesson in your grave. Like if you face a DeFore with this card, maybe not so much. I guess
Well,
also I say go
funny, funny
good.
you say that. I literally beat DeFore with this card.
Oh, very nice. Never mind then. Take back everything I
But
just
that
said.
was before he was on his mono red arc. He was playing like green blue lessons. So yeah.
Also, this is not timing restricted. You can do this on your opponent's turn, right? You can flash in a creature. Yeah, I think this is a good payoff for a deck that wants to go long.
It's whether this card's good or not is just going to come down to how fast the format is, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So with that in mind, I mean, 7's a lot to get the first activation. I was a little lower than you. I gave it a C minus, and you were on a C plus. But I could totally see you being right, or it could even be even higher.
Next is the Walls of Ba Sing Se. This is 8 mana, Legendary artifact creature wall at Mythic. It's a 0/30 defender. It says other permanents you control have indestructible. Man, they really could have made the 7 mana. It feels like they could have shaved a mana off this one, but uh, unplayable, would you say?
Yeah, for 8, like it doesn't win the game. So I think it's just enough.
Yeah, leave this to the Arcades commander players. We've got a cycle of cool lands. So the first one is the black one, Realm of Ko. It enters tapped. All of them are this. It enters tapped unless you control a basic land, which you almost certainly will. Tap to add black. 3 and a black, tap. Make a 1/1 colorless spirit token that can't block or be blocked by non-spirits.
So it's a win condition.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty slow one, though.
Right, yeah. Win condition, mana sink. Very low opportunity cost. Like, if you have this card, you're always going to play it. It's just a matter of, like, how high would you want to take it? What are you taking over it, kind of thing?
Well, I mean, do you play this if you have cat gators?
Okay, yeah, it's a fair point. I think if you're mono black, yeah, you probably still would.
Mono black you would, but there's spots where it's not as free to include because of the land type payoff.
Yeah, if you're on like the 12 swamp, 13 swamp cat gator deck, then that I could see not playing it.
Yeah. So I mean, still a good card. I gave it a C plus. You gave it a B minus. Like
Mm-hmm.
these lands are pretty much free and they've got a lot of upside,
Mm-hmm.
but not like I wouldn't first pick this one.
No, definitely. And that's not true for some of the other ones here. Like Abandoned Air Temple, which is the white one that says 3 and a white, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Oh, sorry. Did we give a grade to the last one there?
Yeah, didn't we? It's a C plus for me, B minus for me.
Okay, sorry. I was just making sure. I know yesterday we
Maybe
missed
we
one
did.
or two. Yeah,
Okay.
so white one here, Abandoned Air Temple, 3 and a white, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
I had this in my allies deck, and every time I had it, it just single-handedly won the game.
Yeah, this card's great. This is, upgraded monocolor Gavney Township, basically.
Yeah, the card's insane. We might even be too low, and we both gave it an A minus.
Yep. The green one, Ba Sing Se, is says 2 and a green, tap, Earthbend 2, activate this only as a sorcery.
So again, all of these can kind of single-handedly win the game on their own. Well, at least 4 of the 5 can.
Mm-hmm.
Her sorcery speed is a lot less interesting than especially the white one, but maybe even the black one too. Like I like this land, and we still both gave it a B minus, but not in the A range.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Still strong. Agna Quella. This is the blue one. It says 2 and a blue, tap, draw a card, discard a card.
Yep, similar as to Bossing Say, we both gave it a B minus.
Yeah, this one is nice. It's with all the instant speed stuff. If you've got counter spells in hand, if they don't cast anything, this is a way to use your mana. So yeah,
Triggers your drop 2 stuff too.
yeah, triggers your draw 2 stuff. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the red one now, Fire Nation Palace. This one says 1 in a red, tap it. Target creature you control gains Firebending 4 until end of turn, which is kind of Firebending 2. And so you get to pay 2 to get 4. This one I wouldn't spend a high pick on ever, right? This one's definitely like a nice little bonus, but nothing to go after, I would say.
You spend 3 to get 4.
Oh, sure, is that 3 to get 4? I glossed over that totally.
Yeah, so it's still like if you're planning on spending 4 mana anyways,
Mm-hmm.
like getting a free mana is not nothing.
No, it's like it's a what do they call it? Like a soul land or whatever. Like City of Traders, an ancient tomb, for instance, if you want to on your turn, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we both gave this a C minus. Still a fine card.
Yeah. Next up is Jasmine Dragon Tea Shop. This is a rare land that taps for colorless. It also taps to add a mana of any color. Spend this only to cast ally spells or activate an ability of an ally source. And 5 tap, you make an ally token.
So we had a similar version that made 2/2s in Edge of Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
That card was excellent.
Very good.
This card, making 1/1s instead of 2/2s is a lot worse, but there is a lot of benefits to making an ally, and it does tap for colors occasionally.
Yeah, I think a little bit worse than that card. That card is like one of the better rares in the set, but still a very good card. What do we give it?
Yeah, C plus from me, B minus from you.
Next up is Secret Tunnel. So this is the one cave in this set. This is a rare, by the way, which is relevant for that red saga that goes and gets a cave. So this land can't be blocked. You can tap it to add colorless. You can also pay for, tap it. 2 card creatures you control that share a creature type can't be blocked this turn.
I think I'm supposed to be higher on this.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, we both gave it a C plus, but I mean, the can't be blocked. Like if you're earthbending, that's a huge
It's
upside.
really good.
And even if you're not earthbending, if you're playing like there's so many allies that making 2 allies unblockable is a really real way of ending the game with this by itself.
How is it good with earthbending? Because Chad's asking, how's it good with earthbending? Because the land can't be blocked, right? So you get an unblockable giant creature. Yeah, and if this was any other set, that last ability, the 2 target creatures, that might be a little bit tough. But so many allies, so many humans, right?
Yeah, no, I think this could be like a B potentially.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. It could be better than we think. I think that's it. So I didn't mention this at the top, but we're not doing the bonus sheet cards today. I'm gonna save that for a later date, probably next week. So that's gonna bring us to the end. That's the last card. Mark, final thoughts on Avatar?
Well, I guess just first to mention the reason we're not doing bonus sheet. I think their rough rate of appearance is like 1 in 20 something packs, and there's like a ton of them. So the amount of time you see each individual card is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely low. So they will be in our tier list. So that the tier list that is posted for the 2 of us will include all the cards, even the ones on the bonus sheet. But overall, I'm super excited for the set. Like we talked yesterday about maybe blue being too strong and ruining the format. I think I'm likely to walk that back. I think the set does have enough aggro that it's not going to be like a control fest where there's just clues and waterbending going wild. So really looking forward to playing this again. And yeah, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, the final thing I will say here is that somebody asked me today, where do you think this set's gonna rank on, compared to the greats we've had lately? If you consider Final Fantasy one of the better draft sets we've had in a while, Duskmorn, that's a pretty recent one that people liked a lot. I think it's gonna fall just short of that. I don't think this is like a GOAT all-timer, but I think it's really good. I think there's a lot to like about it. And also, very last thing, if you made it this far and you're enjoying the show, do check out the Patreon if you want to support us here. Links in the description for that, either in the podcast via the YouTube video. As always, Mark, thanks so much for taking some time to hang out, talk about some cards. We very much appreciate you. And yeah, next week, full-on content for this set starts. We'll see you then.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks a lot.